got a phone call last year. Seemed normal at first. Realtor, renovation project, pretty standard stuff. But by the time I'd hung up, I'd counted 11 red flags. 11 in one phone call. Long story short, I said no to the project, and I want to walk you through exactly what happened because every single one of these red flags will show up in your business. If you can catch them early, you're going to save yourself months of pain. And if you miss them, you're going to have to learn the hard way. Let's count them one by one. So the phone rings. Woman introduces herself. She's a realtor. She's looking at a property. She wants mechanical, electrical, and plumbing work as part of a renovation. She sounds pretty professional at first, but immediately my hackles are up and my defense mechanism is already on high alert. That's when the lies started and the red flags, one after another, like she was reading from a how to be a nightmare client checklist. Here's what happened. The first red flag that came out of her mouth was when she said she was assembling a team. Assembling a team. Translation is you're being shopped. She's calling 5 other people with the same story. She's just getting information, collecting prices, and looking for the cheapest option. You're not special. You're just someone to be compared to and beaten down. Red flag number 2. She tells me the apartment is about 3,000 square feet. 3,000. I said, okay. I asked some questions, get some more details, request the drawings, do some quick math. Turns out this is actually a 6,000 square foot apartment, minimum. She didn't accidentally get it wrong. She gave me half the square footage so that I would quote half the price. Classic move. Red flag number 3. She says, if you just give us a good price on this one, there's a lot more work for you. Yeah, the dangling carrot. I've been doing this for 17 years. You know how many times the more work is coming thing is actually materialized? 0. 0 times. It's always give me a discount now and I promise there'll be volume later. But that volume never comes. It's just a manipulation tactic. And I fell for it for years before I wised up. It's also like they're saying, if you just do this one for free, there's a lot more work for you to do for free. 3 red flags, and we're just getting started on the phone call. Red flag number 4, she's a realtor. Now look, not all realtors are bad clients, but there's a bit of a pattern. They think they know your business because they're in real estate. They want investor pricing. They just treat you like a vendor to be squeezed, not a professional to be partnered with. And they always seem to know a guy who can do it cheaper. Great, call that guy. Red flag number 5, it's a flip. When someone's flipping a property, you need to understand your role. You're not building their future house for them to live in. You're not creating something for them to be proud of and brag to their friends. You're just a line item on a spreadsheet, and every dollar that you're off is another dollar on their profit margin. Flip clients want the cheapest possible work done the fastest possible way with 0 loyalty. The moment someone quotes lower, you're gone. Red flag number 6. We really got to get started right away. Yeah. Manufactured urgency. Classic. We're on a tight timeline. We need to get this done quickly. Can you turn this around fast? Translation, don't think too hard about whether or not this is actually a good idea. Just say yes before you realize what you're actually getting into. When someone pressures you to skip due diligence, it's because due diligence would reveal the problems. 6 flags, and we're only at the halfway point. Red flag number 7, when she says, we've had some issues with previous contractors. Now, she says this like I'm supposed to be sympathetic, like I'm supposed to think, well, those other guys let her down. I'll be different. Stop, think about this. She's had issues with previous contractors, plural. Multiple contractors have had problems with her. What's the common denominator? Her. Every project she works with has a problem. She's the problem. Red flag number 8. She started asking for free advice. What would you recommend for the HVAC? How would you approach the electrical panel? What do you think about? Hey, that's consulting, okay? That's what I get paid for. But here she wants to get it for free, and it's disguised as, just a few questions before we get started. Classic information extraction disguised as getting to know you. Get their expertise, then either do it yourself or hand it to someone cheaper. Red flag number 9. We don't actually have the apartment yet. I'm sorry, what? We're in negotiations. We should close soon. We're in negotiations. Great. So this might never happen. So you want me to spend hours putting together a quote for a project that might never exist, that you might never own, and that might never come into fruition. Sure, let me just do free work on your fantasy. No problem. 9. 9 red flags, and we're not even done yet. So the following 2 red flags were the absolute final straw. Red flag number 10. She demands budget numbers. Translation, she wants a free estimate that she'll hand to cheaper competitors or use to negotiate someone else down. When I said I couldn't provide budget numbers without more info, she pushed back, got aggressive, said, other engineers just give me budget numbers all the time. Here we have a boundary violation on call number 1. She doesn't want a proposal. She wants budget numbers. Not a proposal, not a contract, just budget numbers. Just a free estimate, like I said, she's going to use to hand off to a million different people. Budget numbers aren't a commitment. They're not a contract. They're free work that benefits her and costs me. Budget numbers never help anyway. If I'm too high, they just move on to somebody else. And if I'm too low, I'm screwed forever to maintain that lowest price. It's all pissing in the wind. When I pushed back and said that I couldn't give accurate numbers without more information, without seeing the space, without understanding the scope, she got pissed. She got aggressive. Other engineers just give me budget numbers all the time. Why are you making this so difficult? I just need something to work with. We'll go from there. Boundary violation. Call number 1. I set a simple boundary. I need more information before I can quote, and I really don't want to quote at all if this isn't a real project. And she immediately pushed back. She tried to bulldoze through my objections and make me the problem. If she's not going to respect my process on the first phone call, when she's supposedly supposed to be on her best behavior, imagine how the project's going to go. Imagine what happens when there's a change order or something goes wrong, when it's time to pay the bill. 11 red flags on one phone call. Here's what I learned and how I dealt with it so you don't have to get in this same position. It goes without saying, I said no. Politely, professionally, but firmly, no. She was annoyed. You're really missing a big opportunity. Maybe, but I've taken those opportunities before, and I know how they go, and I know how they end. They end with scope creep, with, that wasn't in our budget, with checks that are late and then later and then in dispute, with projects that drag on twice as long because nothing was what they said it was. When people tell you who they are, listen. Here's the lesson. That first phone call is the audition. They're supposed to be on their best behavior. And if this is their best, imagine their worst. The lying, the manipulation, the boundary pushing only escalates from there. If someone lies to you, manipulates you, and violates your boundaries on the first call, when they're trying to sell you to work for them, imagine what happens when they've already got you. The lying gets worse, the demands get bigger, the respect disappears completely. When you say no to a bad client, you're not rejecting money. You're protecting your time, your energy, and your sanity. That 6,000 square foot project, it would have cost me way more than I would have ever earned. I can't prove it, I just know it. You keep good clients by avoiding bad ones, and some projects you win by losing. If you've ever had a client like this, you know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't had a client like this, you know what to look for. Drop a comment. What's the biggest red flag you've ever seen on a client call? I want to hear some of your guys' stories. Hit subscribe if you want more videos like this about working smarter, protecting your time, and building a business that doesn't slowly destroy you. If you want the complete system, including how to interview your clients, spot red flags, and fire the ones who slip through, check out my book, Hack Your Job. There's an entire section on client management. There's a link in the description. And trust your gut. If something feels off on call one, it probably is. See you guys in the next one.